Superman and Lois, episode 2, Heritage. It's all about heritage. So this one was actually very Lois heavy, which makes perfect sense because again, this is Superman and Lois, and it's not just Superman. So, then there's also like the Clark and Superman stuff. So, to start with Clark, so the his son Jordan, obviously like his son, he's going through his am I Kryptonian? Do I have powers? What's going on, father? So they decide to, like, Clark decides, he's just like, listen, we don't know if you're going to like blow up the school. We don't know, like, because the kid's emotional. He's like, we don't know if if you can keep your powers in check, whatever. Plus we got to do some studies. So he's like, you know what? We're going on a field trip and I'm taking you to the Fortress of Solitude. The other son, Jonathan, he's like, but you're going to school. And so Jonathan ends up going to school. Because the whole family moved. Like, the episode starts with them like actually making the move, moving from Metropolis down to Smallville. And in Metropolis, Jonathan was the man. He was the star of the football team. He had a girlfriend, like he had a life. So he gave up that life to move down to Smallville to help his brother. So he literally has to start over from the beginning. So, he's going off to school while, like Jordan's going off to hang out with dad. They go to the Fortress of Solitude. They use, just like in the Man of Steel, they use the little cryptic, like device that they put into the machine. Calex's voice shows up, and then it also shows the hologram of Clark's father. Good old Jor-El. And Clark had said to Jordan, he said, like, this is a holographic image of my father. He was like, the man that you were named after. And I was just like, where you get Jordan from Jor-El? I'm like, if you really wanted to name him after your father, you could have just named the kid Jor-El. It could have just been Jonathan and Jor-El, not Jonathan and Jordan. But anyway, that was kind of silly. So they're just like, he was just like, hey Pop, he was like, scan my son because he might have Kryptonian DNA in him, and if so, he can continue the Kryptonian lineage. So, the holographic Jor-El, he scans him, does all the tests, and he's just like, the boy has exhibited some power. He can retain sunlight energy, but he doesn't have the capacity to store it the way that you do. He doesn't have like the input and the strength that you do. And he said, and to be honest, he's like, he doesn't even have like a 100th of like the strength that you do. But, he's a kid though, it's just like, Clark was on this earth, from a baby. He soaked up all the sunlight. He had his power from like day one. Because Jonathan has human DNA, because Jordan has human DNA, the human DNA kind of like, counteracts that a little bit. But now that the powers have progressed, he just needs time, he just needs time for it to develop, for him to absorb the right amount of sunlight. And who knows, he might not have the full extent of power that his dad does, but he might have some of the power that his dad does. But when Jonathan hears that, because the hologram said, he was like, oh, he'll never be as strong as you, Kal-El. Jordan got mad, because he gets emotional. He's just like, I'm nobody. And then he got mad and cried and like ran off. So Clark went after him, and then the two of them went home. Jonathan, he was at school and he was trying to, like, he's supposed to be like trying out to be quarterback for the team. The team had like Lana Lane's daughter. She's dating the black dude who's on the football team. So that team is already a team. Like, they already know each other. They're already friends with each other. And as far as they're concerned, they already have a quarterback and they don't need Jonathan. So they hid his playbook. They kept him from learning the plays because they hid his playbook. Jonathan wanted to get out on the field anyway. Coach put him out on the field, and then they were kind of rough with him, shouldering him, taking cheap shots. One guy the black dude actually tackled him and like put his face in the grass. And they was just like, we don't need you, Kent, because we already got a quarterback. So he's getting the brunt of all, of all the punishment, which stems from his brother kissing the girl. Like when he kissed when he kissed the Lane daughter, the boyfriend got mad. So now like the whole school's against him, and he's kind of upset because it's not like Jordan was gonna fight his battles and be there for him, but he's basically taking the brunt of all this abuse because of something that his brother did. And while he's sitting there getting tackled and getting his face mushed in the dirt, his brother's off with daddy learning how to be Superboy. So he's kind of building up some resentment towards that. When everybody gets home, Jordan gets home, he storms to the room. Lois is like, what's the matter? He's like, I'm not special like dad is. I'll never be special. And then Jonathan comes upstairs. He's like, so the F what? He's just like, first of all, this whole family sacrificed everything for your ass and stop crying like a bitch. And, the two of them got into an argument, and then Lois shut it down, and she was just like, look, we came here to be a family, damn it. So she was like, whatever you're going through, put that shit in a fucking box and lock it in the closet because we're going to the Lane's house for a barbecue. And everybody, they calm down and they go up to the barbecue. They when they get to the barbecue, Jonathan and Jordan, they're talking to the Lane girl, and then she apologized for what happened, and then Jordan felt bad, and then Jonathan felt bad. The two of them spoke. They apologized to each other, and they got their whole thing in order. So now they're brothers are back, and they're trying to figure out like what things can be now moving forward. Lois, she's still investigating the Morgan Edge deal, because Morgan Edge, we actually see Morgan Edge now. He came to Smallville, and he was a part of the town hall meeting, to talk about the changes that he was going to make, like the jobs he was going to bring, all the political crap. There was this woman there, like some quirky, woman, because Lois showed up at the town meeting just to hear what the bullshit is. So Lois is at the town meeting. There's this woman in the background. She's staring at Lois. Lois is like, "Why are you staring at me?" And then she's just like, "Oh, you're Lois Lane, and like I've heard about you." And like she seems kind of like a Lois Lane fangirl, But Lois is just like, "All right, nice to meet you, whatever." Then she goes on about her business. So Morgan Edge comes up, and he's just like, "Hey, everybody, I'm here to bring jobs and put money back into Smallville and like rebuild the town." And then Lois stood up, and she was like, "Hold up," because she was like, "You made those same promises with the last town, and you kind of sucked their resources dry and left that whole town in shambles. So what assurances does the public have that you'll actually be able to come through on what you said you can do?" And then and I give Morgan Edge credit for this, because he did flip it on her. He was just like, "Well, I promised those other towns I would give them a chance and an opportunity. I never made a full blown promise." And then he was just like, we took a chance. Everybody agreed to let me take a chance, and things just didn't have to work out. But if you got such a problem with it, Lois, then maybe Smallville isn't the town that I should be investigating. I should be investigating into, and maybe I'll just take my money and my resources and my jobs elsewhere. So now the whole town looking at Lois like, "Bitch, shut up." So he kind of like turned the town on her, because people are looking at her now like, "You about to blow this whole opportunity," and then she got mad, she got mad. Morgan Edge like laughed it off, and then he left. So Lois went home now, and then like that quirky girl, she was just like, "Oh, like your typical Lois Lane," and I was just like, "All right, calm down." So Lois goes home. She's like fuming at the lungs. She writes this whole article about Morgan Edge, about how he's a bad person and he's a piece of trash. And then Clark reads the article, and he's just like, "Yo, that's your boss though, right?" What I'm saying? So he's not gonna let you just like talk trash about him on his own newspaper. So she's just like, "Whatever, I'm a journalist." So she publishes the article. And of course, Morgan Edge basically had somebody rewrite the article, and they published a fake article done by Lois Lane that was a fluff piece that basically bigs up Morgan Edge instead of tearing him down. So now Lois blows a gasket. She goes down to the Daily Planet. She's like, "How dare you rewrite my story?" And then he's like, "Woman, this is my newspaper, and I ain't gonna let you talk that trash about me. And if you don't like it, you know what you can do." And then she was like, "I quit, motherfucker." So she threw her resignation on the table. And like some random white woman, when Lois quit and walked out the room, like before Lois walked out, this random girl was like, "Oh, Morgan Edge will destroy you." She was like, "Whatever, bitch, I'm married to Superman." And then Lois stormed out. So she takes her actual article, she goes down to the Smallville newspaper, and lo and behold, no surprise, the quirky girl who was at the town hall is the girl that runs the small town newspaper. So her and Lois clicked up. She was like, "Hey, this is the actual article if you want to publish it." And now her and Lois are basically going to run the Smallville newspaper together, which is very cool. And it's basically what they did to James Olsen on Supergirl, where James ended up going to his old hometown, and he bought the local newspaper, and now James Olsen is going to run the local newspaper, in his hometown. So now Lois is doing that, which gives her the freedom of speech and the freedom of the press to speak the truth about Morgan Edge, and she can actually get that information out to the residents of Smallville, so they know what's actually going on. But Lana Lane's husband is going to push back, because the two of them had beef throughout the entire episode about what the town needs as far as Morgan Edge is concerned. He even said, even if Morgan Edge screws us over, it's worth it in the short term just for him to bring jobs and life back into Smallville, which Lois did not agree with. And then finally, for the actual Superman portion of the story, he's still fighting this Captain Luthor guy. And for me, I was very interested as far as like who this Captain Luthor person was, because I'm like, we already got a Lex Luthor, and I like the Lex Luthor that we got. So he shows up at one point, Clark shows up, the two of them get into a fight. He comes back later, him and Clark get into another fight, but this time because the guy, he had that suit that he always wears. He remotely sent that suit to go fight Clark. Clark blew, actually he sent the suit after the general, General Lang, like Lois's dad. He sent the suit after him, and then when the suit ran up on him, because they thought he was in the suit, he grabbed General Lang and he was just like, bro, don't trust Kal-El, like he's gonna destroy this planet the same way he destroyed mine. I need the kryptonite, because what Captain Luthor wanted, because apparently General Lang, he has a stockpile full of basically all the kryptonite that exists on the planet. And then, Superman was just like, yo, why you got all this kryptonite? He said, he said, once you married my daughter, I acquired all the kryptonite in the world to prevent you from getting killed by it. I was trying to protect you. But this person in the suit, he wants the kryptonite. And then we find out later, he needed the kryptonite to power his ship, because he has a ship or some weapon or something, and the kryptonite was supposed to power it. He didn't get his hands on the kryptonite, but he's trying to convince the general to give him the kryptonite. And then Superman's just like, do your job, general, and take this son of a bitch down. And then, the guy takes off his helmet. We see his face now, and then we actually get a little bit of his history, which was good, because I didn't want to wait 50 years for his history. Apparently, he is from another planet, but he's also from another Earth. So the multiverse ties into all this, where on his Earth, him and General Lang were in the military together, and their military was going up against an evil black suit rogue Superman. And that Superman basically killed everybody, like killed all the, he killed the general, killed all the army people, and their black suit Superman on his old Earth took over. I guess because of Crisis, because the multiverse collapsed, this guy somehow magically ended up on Earth Prime now, but he still remembers how the Superman from his world tried to take over. So his whole thing now is, now that I'm on a new planet, I'm on a new Earth, maybe he's on Earth 35 or whatever. He said, now that I'm on a new Earth, and there's a Superman on this Earth who fights for truth and justice, I'm not going to let this Superman turn into the villain that my Superman turned into, and I need the general's help, to stop him. But the general's not going to help him because Superman's his son-in-law. So now there's a little conflict there. And, like I said, like General Luthor, like his name is General Luthor, so maybe he was the Lex Luthor of that Earth, who knows, that is yet to be seen. But like I said, but he basically has a mission now. It's like BVS style, where where Batman was just like, oh, Superman could turn on us at any time. On this guy's planet, he actually did turn on him. So he has a legitimate beef, and he's coming for Superman's ass, like I said, to make sure he doesn't turn into the villain that he thinks he can be on his Earth. And like I said, and that was it. And then in the end, Clark tried to do like the whole dad thing. He promised his kids he would try to be there for him more as a father. He was showing up to his son's football practices. He was talking to his other son more. So like I said, the family dynamic is coming together. Everybody's accepting of certain things, and I still feel that Jonathan does have power, and his powers will just develop later on in time. So that was it. Good episode 2. Definitely a good episode 2. Like I said, I like that we got the General Luthor stuff out of the way early, so we know what his motivation is now. And like I said, we'll see if the general betrays him. We'll see if the general betrays him. We'll see how long before Jonathan gets a hold of his power. We'll see how long until Jonathan gets a hold of his power. And I do like the fact that Lois has her own newspaper now. Like the fact that she has her own little like Daily Planet type thing, or like the Smallville Gazette, as they call it. I like that she's basically like running her own thing, because she no longer has to run into the problems and like the roadblocks of the big time corporation. And she's Lois Lane. She has the name recognition, so people are going to flock to her paper anyway, so she'll be good. So thank you for tuning in. Let me know what you think so far about Superman and Lois. Let me know what you think about the Captain Luthor reveal, how this ties into the rest of the Arrowverse, and how much now that we know all this stuff, tell me how badly you want a crossover, because hopefully if things die down a little bit, maybe towards the end of everyone's season, maybe we can get like some crossovers or something. I heard that, Diggle is supposed to pop up on all the CW shows to make a guest appearance, with a flashing a little green. So that'd be cool to see. And like I said, once all this happens, we'll just continue the stories and we'll continue to talk about it, and hopefully things play up in a good way at the end. So leave a comment down below what you think about the episode of Superman. Check me out on the Tacos and Geeks podcast. Link will be in the description for our latest episode. Myself, Sean, Justin, and Gotham Geek Girl Nadia. Like I said, very good episode. We got more episodes coming, so definitely check out that podcast. And check out their YouTube channels as well. Tacos and Geeks on YouTube and Gotham Geek Girl on YouTube. Definitely subscribe to me if you haven't already. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you'll get alerts when new videos come up, because we're still doing Batwoman, and we have WandaVision ending at the end of this week. So that's it, guys. So for the Man of Steel, for Superman and Lois, take care. Flying into the next time. I'm out this bitch.